I'm Bill G. I'm the creative producer for the Milton Keynes International Festival, and this is the first of our talking shop conversations which we're having over the 10 days of the festival, the first of 5 of these. I'm very pleased to be here at Milton Keynes University Centre with our artist in residence, Janek Schaefer.
Thank you, Bill. Hello.
Hello. Now the talk today, I hope it's going to be about the sort of inspiration and process for creating Asleep at the Wheel. You being the architect of soundscapes, as we find about you on your website, you know, that's what we'll focus on. But I just felt it was important before we jump into that was actually to do some sort of scene setting about you, and just sort of thinking about you and going through your biography. Some things I think are really important, and actually I think then they become important for making this piece here for the festival in Milton Keynes, but also about where we are in 2010. And first thing is you're 40, and
2 days old.
Janek was 40 on Wednesday, which was very nice in that way of actually having that sort of in the festival week, which means you were born in 1970.
Absolutely, yeah. Key year in many ways.
Yeah. And you lived in or just outside Milton Keynes?
I lived on the edge of the city of Milton Keynes, yeah, Beaubrick Hill.
Beaubrick Hill?
Small village on the edge of top of the hill.
Between the 70s and the 80s?
Mid-70s to mid-80s,
yeah.
On and off.
Yeah. Then you studied architecture?
I did, yes.
And then sort of through that, up in Manchester and at the Royal College of Art, you then found sound, and that's, I'd love to know something about that story of finding sound. And also you're in the Guinness Book of Records?
Yes,
with
twice in the Guinness Book of Records.
Twice in the Guinness Book of Records. I've only got the one accolade, which
World's
is
most versatile record player.
Yeah.
I also broke the world record for breaking the most number of records in 30 seconds, which was 17, and I did it on my 33 and a third birthday.
And take us back, possibly.
Yeah, how far?
You know, take us back into the 70s, into the 80s, something of being here in Milton Keynes.
Sure. So I think I moved in about 1974, roughly. I remember going to Beaubrick Hill Primary School and crying on my first day, bottom of the hill. So we lived on top of the hill, it's lovely. And then it kind of overlooked Milton Keynes being built, in a way, distant lights. So I lived there for 5 years. Family fell apart, and my father moved to a professor's house in the Cranfield Institute of Technology, and he was an ecological physicist, and he was doing research into crop spraying and how to not do that, but do biological means of control. So, very spiritual and ecological man who grew up in Canada, and met my mother from Poland, and then came to England. And so, you know, I remember more about being here, sort of 10 to 15-year-old, when I visited my dad in holidays, and come for a treat at McDonald's in the shopping centre, the brand new shopping centre that we just opened, and buying a puffer jacket from the market without sleeves on it, that kind of thing. Then he passed away in '86, so I moved to Leicestershire, and I was rubbish at school. I was predicted low O levels. I managed to get straight through 10 C's and a B. I went to a good school. I thought I was in the top 5% intelligent people in Britain, so I didn't do any work. I just kind of watched telly in my bedroom a bit and did things. I was very unacademic. So I got a BNU on my A levels, which was kind of a failure. Got B in design, that's good. My mum thought, ow, what do we do with this young man? And she thought, well, he's quite good at design and spatialisation and things like that. Maybe he could study architecture, because Prince Charles likes architecture. It's a good, solid career, like being a solicitor, and it's got a good reputation. And for me, it was great, because it's none of the subjects you study at school. It's something fresh, isn't it? And she explained to me how it's a wonderful discipline for addressing all the scales, all the issues around the site. And I got into Manchester Polytechnic, which is amazing, in 1990. A great year to arrive, because it's a fantastic party city. And the first project they gave me was, here's a brief, here's a situation, context, do what you like, come back at the end of the week. I was like, okay, I can do what I want. I don't have to repeat things like I did at school, learn things. I used to do classical music and have to go every week and say, oh, no, I don't know how to play those notes someone's told me to play before. I was not good at that. I was good at making up my own rules, not in a radical way, but I got an A for my first project, my first ever A in my whole life. I came out with a first class degree. I worked 24 hours a day, late night, all night. From 20 to 40, I worked every night, all night, all my life. And so I worked hard, got into the Royal College of Art because I wanted to go places, thought that's a good place to go, meet some people, sounds great, went down there. I did my own thing there as well a bit. But while I was there, I was kind of talking to someone about the fact I wanted to make music, you know, I was kind of into techno and electronica and DJing the bar and things like that. And I had this conversation, it's a bit of a mythical thing, because someone said, you know, why do you have to wait until after you finished your degree to start that? And then we kind of talked about, we got on to the conversation of sound, and then it became apparent that sound is, well, it's a really interesting element of architecture, the way we experience our environment. And the way we come into this building is different from there, the way you hear things, like the car alarm outside, that you can't see it, but you can hear it. So it creates all these pictures in your head, sound does. It's this amazing thing. It's very site-specific. I thought, well, I could do some projects on that at the RCA. So I delved into it, did some magic buildings, where the sound was exactly the same as at the outside when you're inside, because it's all webbed with microphones and speakers. And they gave me a big tick, and I got the year prize from the Royal College of Art. It's like, for my portfolio, I'm like, well, that's doing better than I used to do, I thought, great, so what do I do now? I don't want a job. Definitely don't want a job. That'll tie me down. I want to be free. What the Royal College of Art trained me to do was not architecture, because I don't know how to build my extension. I have to employ my friends to do it. But it did teach me how to tell stories and discover things. Because you can't build a building in architecture in college. You just have to talk about it and design it and make models and pretend. And I was interested in reality, so my final project was a real installation in a real part of the city, and the police stopped me asking me, what are you doing up that lamppost? I said, I'm putting up a sign. And they go, well, you're trying to steal it. All these things going on. So I carried on that route.
And what about putting things in the post?
Yeah, in my first or second year, I've always found that opportunities like competitions or things like that are great to give you a reason to make something. I don't make work unless I have a reason to make it. I don't sit at home and go making my music. It's like only when I have a context and a deadline and maybe some cash, and I can actually get the thing done. And so there's a poster. It said Art Angel, which was the premier site-specific commissioning body around, and Brian Eno, pretty important musician with Laurie Anderson, equal American musician, are asking the students to fill up a self-storage building, and with art, like empty rooms of art. I thought, okay, great opportunity. What can I do? Sound. And I'm sitting on the sofa. I'm going to do something. This was the first sound piece I did. Sound. How can I do something? They wouldn't let me go there. How can I do something that is site-specific? Well, if I send something to the building, then it becomes site-specific through the journey. If I put a tape recorder in it, I give it ears, it'll record the journey to the building. And maybe I can't do that because technology is not amazing. If I buy a cassette player, it's got a sound reaction dial on it, then I can limit when it turns on and off. So I posted it, recorded delivery, overnight, and it recorded 15 hours of journey into 72 minutes of sound. A whole complete edit from the postman, the cars, the singing radios, 5 AM in the morning, the post office workers being rude about things that allegedly had happened before, in a kind of exciting way, let's say, which is a juvenile highlight of the piece for sure. And it was #1 Critics' Choice in Time Out, the show, part of. I thought, yeah, you know, and I put that as part of my architecture project instead of designing a post office I was meant to be doing. And they said, yeah, you can do that. That's really interesting. You carry on doing that. I said, yeah, cheers. So that was my first sound art piece, and it's, you know, scored well, and I'm with me and people around me. So
Yeah.
to carry on.
Yeah. I think that was the first piece of yours that I experienced.
Did you go to it?
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
cheap.
And then, jumping forward a number of years, that the piece of yours which had a really profound impact upon me was the piece that was commissioned by Huddersfield Contemporary Music Festival, extended play, which was commissioned for the Huddersfield Art Gallery, and that was a piece which you got the, I think, Paul Hamlin Award for that, or that was part of that, and British Era Composer of the Year award in Sonic Art for that.
For the year 2008.
Yeah, it was a good year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And I just wondered if you wanted to say something about that piece, because that's also, you know, very personal piece, and in that way perhaps different in some ways than the piece that we're going to come on to.
Yeah, they're both the work I've done for If and extended play reflect on my own experience of life, and you know, you think about, well, who is an artist? I was a musician, a composer, a sound artist. I'm basically an artist now more than anything. And I think apparently artists reflect their own lives. And that's certainly where I draw my inspiration. Touch nodes and how to connect my experience with the world and share that with people. And when I was asked to do a piece for the festival, extended play, where did that start? Well, yeah, I had an idea on the way up on the train to meet Graham Mackenzie for a piece with multiple record players playing a kind of very beautiful classical composition in an experimental way for the festival, because it's a kind of experimental classical context. So I thought I found these amazing, beautiful 50s retro record players, flip up wooden lids, antique, beautiful things. They're remaking them in America now. I thought, well, that means I can get a lot of them, and they'll be reliable, they'll be the same, and I can put them there, and they could all play a composition, or which is what I like to do a lot with all my work, make it completely compositionally different all the time. It's always a random play. So I thought, well, what can I put on those? And I was thinking at the time how lucky I am, how lucky we all are, how lucky my daughter is. She was born in Bolton-on-Thames in 2005. In peacetime, very affluent, corner in Surrey. She has everything we want, we have everything we want. I reflect on my life being extremely lucky. I'm very grateful to be able to live this way. And I think you should say that. Be aware of it and stop moaning all the time. All the news you turn on all the time is moaning all the time. Everyone's going, going, come on, let's have it up. And I reflected on how my daughter was 2, or 1, whatever, and my mother, her grandmother, was born in Warsaw in 1942 in the centre of a great war. Like, to be pregnant at that time, to give birth at that time, to be a child at that time. You know how important the first 4 years of your life, they form who you are, emotional blueprint for the future. My mother spent 3 years in Poland hiding. They were an affluent family, all things there, and you know, it's obviously extremely hard, I can imagine, but you know, we're all humans, very resilient. So I wanted to reflect that. So I went and researched that, how can I do that? I researched that I heard on Radio 4, which is often what happens, a thing called Yodaform, where this coded piece of music was broadcast by the World Service at midday every day, and it was sent to Warsaw, and the people of Warsaw kind of knew what this piece of music meant. It meant the Allies are friendly, or something's going wrong. Or there wasn't any special structure to the music, just the type of Polish folk tune that was sent. And I went to the Polish Institute Trust, and they had a few books, and I said, oh, this is 1942, this is the book they wrote down in it what they sent that day. Oh, look, June the 25th. My mother, that's the day my mother was born. What's this here? I said, it's Tango Dyzhowski. I said, what's that? And they said, oh, it's this amazing piece of music that's about children in South Poland having to go to war in 1919, taking up arms because all the adults were in trouble. I thought, whoa! And they played it for me, this happy piece of Polish folk music. I thought, oh, I'll take a bit of that, and maybe then I can take the rising notes, the uplifting element of it, and ask someone who knows about how to arrange music to score it for a record player at 33, 45 and 78, and all those harmonic pitches and how to do all that, and so Michael Jennings came on board. You know, it's lovely serendipity. Serendipity is all part of the process, and gloriously exciting to work with.